And we're going to try and start right on time because the design sprint requires some effort, and 20 minutes is really fast. That's why it's a sprint. Shauna, do you need to do any announcements before we get started?
No, you are good to go. I think we're ready to launch when you're ready to kick us off.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for being here today. I am really excited to share this design sprint concept with you. Has anyone done a design sprint before? I learned about this at OLC and loved it. It was my favorite session, so I repurposed it for this context. So the idea, so let me tell you who I am, and then I'll tell you what a design sprint is, and then we'll get started. So I'm Becky Cottrell. I am the online and hybrid course development analyst, sorry, super long title, at MSU Denver in the social work department. So I work with faculty in supporting their online learning. And I love the idea of active learning in an online space. So that's part of why I enjoy a design sprint and why I chose our topic for today, which is discussion boards. So the idea is that you all are going to spend 10 minutes working together with a small group, and you're going to solve a problem. And that problem today is discussion boards. So you'll work together, you'll design a solution to that, and then you'll come back and we will have the world's fastest share outs to be able to tell us what you have devised in your group. So with that, let me share my screen and we will get going. Okay. So this is our Google Doc. I'm going to share the link to it in the chat. Everyone has a chance to edit. So you're going to open that up. We are doing our design sprint. And here is what I see as the problem, and I'm just going to say it. Discussion board activities can be stale, static, and boring. These activities often fail to foster engaging and inclusive online environments. I don't know if other people agree with me on that, but that is how I feel. That's how my faculty feel. This is the most common question I get is how do I make discussion boards a little bit more interesting? So that's our problem that we are hoping to solve today is discussion boards are stale, static, and boring. They are not fostering inclusive or engaging online environments. So we want to devise some discussion board activities that are not stale, static, and boring, and that do foster engaging and inclusive environments. Here is the challenge. In 10 minutes with your group, I would like for you to devise an innovative solution to the discussion board problem with your group. You can use the discussion board tool or any other asynchronous tool to develop your online course activity. So feel free to be creative with the use of technology. We are going for 10 minutes, so it's got to be quick as we're moving ahead. But this is where you can bring out some of your best creative ideas. Sometimes when we're put under that time pressure, we can really start thinking about what would work. So as you pop in, everyone will have a group. And if you scroll down, you'll see the groups here below. So once you're in your group, you'll have a group. And there's a space for notes on the left as you do some brainstorming. And then I'll ask you to develop a setting for your class, a purpose or the goal of your discussion or other activity. The question is, how does this activity foster student to student, student to instructor, and or student to content engagement? And then of course your activity details. So that's our basic setup here. Any quick questions before we break out into groups? Pull up the chat. Ramon, is that you have a big yes? You have a question? Or you were agreeing with something earlier? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. We do have groups that Shauna will put us in momentarily. We'll have one group stay here in the main room, and the captioner is going to stay here in the main room. So if you would need those captions, feel free to just stay here in the main room and join that group. We would love to have you be a part of it. And as you're out, make sure that you assign somebody to be your spokesperson, as you're going to have about 30 to 40 seconds to share out your ideas at the end. So design sprint, we're about ready to go. as soon as Shauna tells us. And we're going to break out into breakout rooms for about 10 minutes.
I am ready to go. So I'll get you guys over into the rooms. Okay, you guys who are left in this room, this is your breakout room. So go ahead and jump in whenever you are ready.
So do we want to choose a specific setting first?
I'm wondering whether anybody has a previous discussion topics or ideas that's pretty good, robust, we can just share out now. So it's in that way, we already have known subject matters, know the content, everything.
Well, I teach writing and literature courses. Some of the things I do in my discussions are things like do a podcast series about a series of poems or something like that. And they just post their recordings into the discussions, and students seem to like that.
Okay, great. We can share that out. I'm not sure what is group number for us because we are not in the breakout room. So which group are we, Shona?
I think she'll probably just refer to you as the main room, but I'll check in with her on that while you guys are discussing. We just wanted to make sure there was someone in the main room so that in the recording there would be, there would be some discussion and during the breakout room period time as well.
Okay. On her document, there are 5 groups. And if you are another group, then maybe you just copy. I'm not sure whether I can edit this. Probably I can. I can copy paste the group 5 into another.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize she had a document there that you were editing. I would call yourselves room 7.
Okay, group 7.
I think a whole bunch of people got knocked off of Zoom. It just crashed for me. So I just joined and I think we're in the main room still.
Oh, yeah, we do have one. Yep. We do have some people that we actually left in the main room. So if you're in the main room, I'd say go ahead and stay there. I'm kind of monitoring counts. I think we're okay. And then Becky, I just have them kind of assign themselves to room 7 on the document, so you would know which room that this group is.
That would great. Thank you, Shona.
I came in a little bit late, and so I'm kind of getting up to speed, but can someone put in the chat a link to that document we're editing so I can see it too? Thanks. Hi, Becky. Good to see you.
Hi.
Old classmate. Go ahead.
Becky, it's unclear which group we are. We couldn't select we don't know which, Google Doc to select. Oh, can't hear you. You're muted.
7. let's do what Shauna suggested and put you in group 7.
We're in 7? Okay.
Yep.
Can you throw me back to group 7?
Oh, wait. This group in this room right now is group 7.
Oh, okay. So I just left a group and I don't know which one it was because there was no indication on the screen which group we were. So we didn't know. There was initial, blurb as we joined, but not all of us noticed it. So we don't know which Google Doc to use. And
You're number 6.
I'm 6? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Could you send me back?
Shauna can.
Okay, Shauna.
Yes, working on it.
Thanks. 6. Thank you.
All right, main room folks. We've got to jump in. You've got 5 minutes to solve your design challenge. Sorry for the chaos in room 1 and in this main room.
So I saw Shanna already made a group 7 for us. So whoever has a good idea may want to jump in on a Google Doc and start typing.
So my Zoom instance had crashed when Becky explained what we were doing. So I don't know. I see the document, but I'm not really quite sure what I'm doing because I jumped in after everyone broke out into the different rooms.
So Doris, your goal is to come up with an innovative discussion activity or an asynchronous activity that you can work on in your class. So we're working together what might be a great activity that you could do. So we're trying to kind of deconstruct that discussion board and come up with something creative and new together.
Okay. Thanks.
I like building on, I see someone is putting intro discussion in there. I don't know who that is that's typing in our session right now, but so I have some more ideas going off of that. One thing that we do, my colleague Allison O'Grady, I think she presented at a former COLTT, but creating like Padlet learner profiles and sharing those out. So creating something sort of visual and dynamic to express who you are, and then sharing those with each other.
Something else I've done for introduction discussions is ask students to take a picture outside their current window and then just talk about what led them to wherever they currently are when they're posting that picture.
That sounds a great activity.
So this is Candace, and I was just copying my introduction, what I use. I'm using Video Note and D2L. I don't know if anybody's used that. It's kind of fun to use it. And over at CCD, they're working on getting it fixed over at CCC Online. It's working over there. I'm over at Mesa, over at Colorado Mesa University, and this is what I'm doing for this class.
I like the using video as, especially in the introduction board. I mean, there's a lot of different uses for videos that we use in other types of like discussion replacements, right? So for example, pitch an idea to imaginary stakeholders. That's best done in a visual context, or like in a leadership class, like, hey, use video to imagine that you're talking to a new team. You're the supervisor of this new team. Talk, how would you give about your leadership style to your new team or something like that. So we use video throughout the course. Another one is like in a GIS course, they were doing like live video podcasts using Flipgrid, like out in the field while they were doing their like GIS fieldwork. But for the introduction, I think it's really valuable because then you can start putting a face to a name and it creates a sense of community. And I know that there's sensitivity to that too. And so I always, want to make sure that there's an alternative if they want to use like an animation or avatar, or if they want to put like a picture that doesn't show their face. I want to make sure that they have those options. They feel comfortable if video as a medium isn't comfortable for them. But I do think it really makes you feel like you get to know everybody. So I love that idea, Candace.
And this is Shauna. I'm just going to break in quick to let you know people are going to be popping back in about 30 seconds.
And Chelsea, add your ideas to the Google Doc. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
We'd said it was a sprint. It goes so fast. 10 minutes is not enough time to solve the world's problems, but I hope you had some fruitful discussion. I've been spying on your notes. So we are going to have a quick share out. And by quick, I mean, I have a timer set on my phone for 40 seconds and I'll share my screen and group one, get ready as we're going. I'm going to share that and 40 seconds. Are we ready? Group one. Unmute yourself and timer starts. So who's ready? Go.
I'll go. This is Joy. Sorry, my image is not working. I thought I was signed in. We didn't quite get to the whole thing. We did have a really good conversation about different apps that might work in the LMS or just on their own that would make it more engaging. I guess VoiceThread is being used quite a bit. I use Miro board because I like there to be images, and I do design and architecture, so critique is really important. They're more about critiques and maybe less about discussions sometimes. Also, we talked about
40 seconds. Thank you, Joy.
Okay.
I know, so fast. Don't have to cut you off so we can get to everyone. Thank you. Great things. Group two.
Can we share our screen to show something or no?
Let's go with no. I think it'll take too much time, but put a link in if you can.
Okay, so group two, we were talking about the possibility of some sort of intro activity for an intro level course. And we were thinking about having students engage on something controversial or potentially where there could be different views, and they're asked to seek out somebody on the discussion board who posts a different view than themselves and engage in discussion back and forth on that topic. And we were kind of talking about different possibilities of types of platforms like Padlet or other things, but then we came back to using the LMS is sometimes the best just because of accessibility issues. So that's what we did.
Perfect. Thank you. Group two. Group three.
My apologies. We decided we were going to teach ethnomythology, which is a meteorology course at the 2000 level. We went directly with what we've already got. It's what they all know. We're going to work with student created threads as much as possible because when students have agency about what they're discussing, they're much more engaged. We're gonna have each student lead one discussion during the semester using a claim, evidence, reasoning-based rubric, which asks them to explain what they know, how they know it, and then talk to each other about where they differ, they agree, and there we go, I'm done.
Awesome, thank you. I know the 40 seconds is fast. Group four. Michelle, Ramon, Andy.
Yeah, so the big things that we talked about were just some ideas that we've used in the past or like have encountered in the past, which one of them was like having discussion boards broken up into groups where they can't move on unless they solve a problem, having like an instructor like actually invest and buy in the discussion and like reply to people, and then also like establishing guidelines for when an initial post should be made as well as like a reply. Thanks.
Great, thank you, group 4. Group 5?
Ours is similar to group 2, where we have, it could be any course level, any class, where there's 2 sides to debate, and we allow the students to choose their side. So we would set up a discussion with a side A thread, a side B thread, or however many sides, and they get to choose, and they have to support their argument. And then at the end of the discussion, we have a full discussion board with everyone where they have to talk about what they learned. Did they change their mind? What made them change their mind? So this is something that we think will add that inclusivity and the critical thinking, and they're going to be a community because they're going to come together at the end.
Thank you.
Wow.
Group 6.
I can speak about our group. We had some technical difficulties, actually. So this is probably something that we ended up focusing on, where students, if they're not introduced to the activity and there's no modeling, then it's very difficult for them to avoid confusion once they get into their discussion groups. So Grace spoke of that need to effectively stage and scaffold and provide some modeling. And then also, Laura mentioned that she often feels put on the spot when, placed in a group activity, and students feel the same way. So we have to avoid that. Yep.
And I'm going to own that. It is one of the deficits of the design sprint type of activity that there's less time to explain, and it puts us on the spot, but it's a good place for us to experience as a student.
Similar pressure in a regular classroom though.
You
know? Yeah, similar time pressure. So.
All right, group 7. Group 7, our last one. Sorry, I know we're 1 minute over.
I can speak. So the problem we chose was like introductions and getting to know each other online. And so we talked a lot about some visual things, like taking a picture outside your window and posting that as a conversation starter, or creating like a Padlet about yourself and your as a learner profile. But also then we talked a lot about using video based discussions in various like embedded things or other tools, but just to create a sense of community, but also being sensitive to students who might not feel comfortable using video in an asynchronous class, and some alternatives to that as well.
Awesome. We thank you so much for being here. I know the design sprint is super fast, and to address some things happening in the chat, yes, please continue to use this Google Doc, share some ideas, look through it if people didn't get a chance to share everything. So thanks so much for being involved. Thanks for sharing all of your ideas. It's been great to hang out with you. And we're only 2 minutes over on our design sprint. I was a little bit curious how that would work. So thanks for joining us, and have a great COLTT.